Alongside Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price. 2-minute drill on this Thursday. Met with Josh Heupel for about 5-6 minutes. Rather light press conference on this Thursday. The biggest note, K'Ron Calvert, just kind of piggybacking on what he said last night in ball calls. Thinks he can, legitimately be a presence for them or a body that can get some reps in the last month of the season.
Yeah, on the practice field doing some limited things, not full go but by any means at this point, but he's getting close to being cleared for everything, and I think over the course of the next couple of weeks, there's a hope that they can get him in and perhaps have him in the rotation, or at least have him as a body available if they need to. As we know, this is a thin line that's beat up right now, and he would be a welcome sight if he were back on the practice field and back available for Tennessee. That's an injury that happened so early in the season, Austin, you kind of forget about it. And then they had those couple of games where they've run the ball really well, and you really forget about it. But when you think about it, that was a pretty significant injury to Tennessee.
Well, it limited their options, because K'Ron could play guard. He can, more likely will play tackle, and gives you flexibility with Cade, being able to slide him inside and where he is probably his strongest, which is at guard. Coach Heupel did mention that D. Beckwith had his best 2 weeks of practice the last couple of weeks. Tennessee going to be, continued thin along the running back room when you think about, Laneith Whitehead struggled to make it through a game. We don't know the status of Tyon Evans and that ankle and his availability for Saturday. Jabari Small is going to have that shoulder basically all season, so it'll kind of come and go. Might have a good week, bad week. The toe for Jalen Wright, they just need bodies. And Beckwith's obviously a bigger body.
Yeah, he is, and a guy who has not been a factor in terms of traveling at times, but has put his head down and gone to work and has gotten opportunities the last couple of weeks because of the injuries that they've been dealing with. Because these guys, you rattled off the injury report. Some of them have played on Saturday.
That's just running back.
Right. Some of them have played on Saturday, but they've been limited on the practice field, which has given Beckwith an opportunity to get more reps and things. So we'll see. Do we see him Saturday night? I don't know. But it's a guy who appears to be taking some advantage of some increased opportunities because of the injuries.
As for the rest of the injured players, Caden Cooper-Mays, I'll be shocked if Cade plays in this game. Maybe he tries to gut through it. He's tough. We've heard stories of, from players about him, how he kind of showed himself on a practice field, gutting through a series back in fall camp. Cooper continues to trend in the right direction, but do they risk it this week before you get to Kentucky? Because those ankles are so finicky. I mean, if you retweak it this week and don't let him get fully healthy, he could miss another 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, it depends on where you're at, and at some point you got to go back out there and test it. I mean,
sure.
When are you ever going to be quote 100% on it or not 100%?
Good point.
I don't know. I just think Cooper's further along than Cade,
yeah.
Obviously because of when the injury happened. I'm not saying he's going to play, but of the two, Cooper playing makes more sense as a possibility than Cade, considering Cade's injury is just from several days ago, and he couldn't go back out and play in that Ole Miss game. I have a hard time seeing Cade being able to go this week.
Yeah, and Cooper's basically a month out from his re-injuring of the ankle at Florida. That's the offensive line. Flip it to quarterback. Hendon Hooker has continued to get work in throughout the week. I don't think they're going to announce a starter. I think that he's most likely just to head out there, but I continue to be told it's just a big bruise and it's a big knee contusion. There's no ligament, damage to worry about. So brace it up and play is kind of the last thing that I've been told.
Well, he practiced more on Tuesday than any of us thought he would, and he's not curtailed reps since Tuesday. It's not gone in the wrong direction. So I think that they'll make a final call on that after tomorrow's practice and kind of see where they are. But it feels like it continues to trend towards him being available to play and likely to go out there and play. But because he's not had any setbacks this week and they've not scaled him back from everybody I've talked to, he's continued to practice every bit as much as he did on Tuesday, if not more.
Well, if he can go, that definitely gives Tennessee's offense, even if he's not as mobile, still a boost of confidence heading into what should be a tough game Saturday night against Alabama. He's Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price for the 2-Minute Drill.